Okay, so welcome everyone to the second day of our TNE Hum Symposium. As I was mentioning in the first day, this was meant to be a hybrid event taking place on the 17th as a single day event, but our community has a preference towards online, and therefore in this instance we kept it as an online event, and we split it over 2 days just to make it a bit more easy to attend and engage with. So this is the second day. Today you're gonna have two sessions. Session 3, so session 1 of the day, but session 3 of the entire symposium is the one that you are going to attend from 9:30 until 11, and it's going to be chaired by Chris. And we have a range of contributions from Pakistan, from the UK, and also from Faith that, as I understand, you're going to reflect about the work you do in China, if I'm not mistaken. But I will leave that over to you and Chris to explain a bit more. And then later in the afternoon at 2 o'clock, 2 to 3:30, we have a session that is focusing on employability, transferable skills, and local context. Is gonna chaired by Kolach, and we have sessions from Jessica from the US, University of Miami, talking about employability of TNE graduates, transferable skills by colleagues from Queen Mary University. And then we have a session from Vicky from the Queen Margaret University about post-Brexit and the local language delivery, and she's going to reflect on the work they do in Greece. So again, I would say a range of really useful sessions, and primarily we aim to have contributions from people who actually engage with TNE hands-on, so practitioners, but also they have research interests. So it's a nice balance between practice and research, which is what we try to do always in the TNE Hub, and provide our attendees with some lessons learned, but also some ideas for further research and research collaboration. I think as well the content of the entire symposium is very pertinent to the discussion that goes on these days on TNE, and we have seen that in the highlights of recent conferences like the Going Global conference that is going on now. There has been a lot of discussion there about the topics we have been talking about as TNE Hub more broadly, but also as part of this symposium. So things related to equitable partnerships, sustainability, impact, employability of TNE graduates, student experience of TNE, and so on, and local context as well, and language. It was very refreshing to see the remarks made by Simon Marginson in British Council, and that is, I think, a validation of the points we've been making over the years as a community. Now, I just want to draw your attention in something which I find very interesting. So if you are a UK university and you want to engage more with the European Union region, there's an opportunity to participate in a TNE forum between Cyprus and the UK. So this is a forum organized by British Council, Cyprus, and Invest Cyprus, and it's taking place on the 13th of December. They can fully cover the participation cost, so airfare and accommodation is covered. So if you are a UK university and you are interested in collaborating and exploring the collaboration with universities in Cyprus, I think that's a very useful call. Just a little bit of context there. Cyprus is a country that has quite a lot of TNE provision and as well has a thriving international student market. It has a number of private and public universities that have a good balance between teaching and research activity. So it's a quite, although the place is the geography is quite small, the place has a lot of potential, and of course, primarily is an EU country. So that is if you want to participate in that. I will circulate the slides as well, but if you want to contact, if you are interested, contact British Council at the email Pandelitsa and Mikhail. I'm going to post this as well in the chat, the email address. So with that, I will pass over to Chris. I will unshare the slides. Presenters will be able to share the slides as they go. You have full functionality. So if you have any technical issues, please let me know. I'm in the background. So over to you. All the best for a great session.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Vangelis, and welcome, colleagues. We are all ready to go with the first presentation. Vangelis has already given the introductions. I don't think there's any point me taking up more of your valuable time. So we have 3 presentations, each one be 20 minutes. We'll have hopefully some time for 1 or 2 questions immediately following. And then with any luck, some additional time for round-up questions there towards the end. So without further ado, would you like to take us away, Fawad? Are you ready to go?
Yeah.
I see you up and ready. So please, sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Christopher. Let me share my screen. Yeah, the slides are visible. Hello.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
we can see them all.
see
We can see them great.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Hello, everyone, and good morning. My name is Fawad Nasir. I'm a head of school for computer science and software engineering at Beacon House International College, Pakistan. Today, I'm going to explore the insightful journey to understand the foster development of globally minded tech leaders, and of course, particularly focused on the Pakistani environment. Our discussion will not only highlight the importance of this global mindset, but also explore into how we can cultivate such leaders within our institutions and organization. In a world where technology is advancing at an unprecedented pace, the need for tech leaders, and particularly as a global perspective, TNE can play a pivotal role in shaping such leaders, particularly in the context of Pakistan's rapidly evolving tech landscape. So let me start with the presentation roadmap. Today, I will going to explain about the introduction, set the stage by discussing the global skills imperative for Pakistani youth and how TNE fits into its context. Our research approach, how we examine the impact of TNE, that will be discussed in detail. About the key evidence, we will explore the heart of our findings, showcasing how TNE is influencing Pakistan's tech landscape and the growth potential of its digital economy. Explanatory methods, that how we collect all the data and their implications. We'll discuss the broader implications of our findings, for particularly for the Pakistani sectors. Then the conclusion, and as we navigate through this presentation, I encourage you to think about how these educational experiences, not just on the individuals, but also on the local tech ecosystem, and the global stage. Let's start with the presentation. And Pakistani global skills imperative for Pakistani youth. We have the overall population of 50% of the overall population are below the age of 30. And this demographic potential can translate into uh, demographic dividend. Sorry, demographic dividend only if the youth are provided with adequate skills and technical uh, skill set for the job market. As we are working in the global village, as the world is due to the internet, we are working in a global village. So we are not bound to work in the local space. We are working at the global perspective, and the reference to the stats likely to present data on the number of young individuals entering the workforce each year. The Digital Pakistan initiative is a government policy aimed at enhancing Pakistan's digital infrastructure, increasing digital literacy, and build a knowledge economy. The bar graph, which I have just placed over there, it visualizes the scenario of the demographic data and the undersupply of digitally skilled talent in Pakistan. Although we have very great universities, very great chartered universities in Pakistan, but still, uh, due to some limitation from the higher education commissions and our curriculum weren't updated frequently and not so frequently, and you can say that it's not updated according to the need of an era, this technical era. It's not updated. um, so TNE comes here. I will discuss the particularly the differences and the plus and minus of all this by comparing the TNEs in Pakistan and the chartered universities of our country. Pakistan youth population and national statistics 60%, as I've discussed. Uh, Tech sector is like that tech sector is currently contributing only 1% of Pakistan's GDP. There is an urgent need to harness this youthful energy and direct it towards the technological innovation and leadership. This requires not just training in technical skills, but also in the leadership and global competencies to position this country as a key player in the global tech arena. As we have seen that India is performing very well. That's our neighbor, and they have a very great example for us as well. The area chart which I just presented over here is the scenario showing the growth of tech sector as a percentage of Pakistan GDP from 2010 to 2025. This visualization effectively illustrates the steady increase in contribution of the tech sector to the nation's GDP over time. If we develop our youth for the tech sector, for the standard according to the international standard of tech sector, we can contribute to our GDP as well. Pakistan's digital economy growth potential, Pakistan Vision for 2025, we call it Pakistan Digital Economy Vision 2025, aims for substantial 8% GDP contribution from the tech sector. And to achieve this, it's estimated that 1 million new tech jobs will be needed by 2025. The role of tech leadership here is paramount. We need leaders who are not only adapting technology but can also drive innovation, foster a culture of creativity, and navigate a challenge, creative, and rapidly evolving, covering basically a rapidly evolving tech area. So this highlights the potential and necessity for Pakistan to cultivate a generation of tech leaders who are globally minded and locally engaged. And this is the point where TNE comes in. And I will explain that how TNE plays a very crucial role in developing for these contribution towards the GDP of Pakistan as well. Challenges facing by the Pakistani tech sectors is that these include low access to quality tech education, particularly because as we are all sitting here as an educator and trainer, so currently that only point nearly about 1% of GDP is tech, so notable gap in the leadership pipeline, creating an obstacle for growth and innovation. Addressing these challenges is critical for sustainable development of Pakistani sector. So how we work on that? This line graph, these all graphs is come from our research which we conducted nationwide by like contribution from different TNEs and their students and the industry. I will discuss on that in the end as well. This line graph shows the growth rate and economic contribution of the tech sector in Pakistan from 2019 to 2023. It illustrates an upward trend in both the growth rate and the sector's contribution towards the GDP, indicating a robust and expanding tech industry. So what do we need now currently? We need to develop our future tech leaders. It's a man force, human resource for the tech industry, which can be for the offices, for the organization, and for the freelancers. It can be for anyone, but contributing towards the country's GDP. To overcome these challenges, we must focus on developing skill set, technical skill set, soft skill sets, and the leadership, including the innovation and change according to the global mindset. Um, okay, here we go. TNE's role in building technical skills. In this particular topic, we explore how TNE, Transnational Higher Education, significantly contributes to building technical skills among Pakistani youth. TNE programs have shown a remarkable impact with more than 70% of their graduates and their students. We have seen after surveys that most of the TNE technical, I'm particularly discussing about the degree TNE programs in BSc Computer Science and Software Engineering and related such degree programs. During those degree programs, student got an opportunity to work with the employers and along with as an freelancer as well. So basically depend upon the 6 month post graduation and sometime during their graduation compared to the national. We have compared that 65% of the national chartered university students they are less approachable by the freelancers in the technical world basically. TNE builds basically an instrumental in cultivating global mindset among Pakistani students. They explore the global curricula, diverse faculty, and virtual collaboration with peers across the world. For example, we are dealing with the University of London-based BSc Computer Science degree programs, and there our students work in collaboration with the students who are who are placing in UK, in Singapore, in Malaysia. So we have a multicultural interaction for our students. So that particularly develop their not only the skill set but also for the leadership and cultivating that point in developing their personality as well. According to the survey, 90% of TNE student reports enhanced cultural awareness due to that group projects. So this is the critical in today's globalized world where understanding different cultures and market is key to success in tech industry. As I have said that we are working in a global village, so that particularly help our students as well to create a connection with those and later on use those contacts for job perspective as well, for freelancing task prospect as well. So that particularly works well for our students. I have shared the geographical distribution of TNE's institution in Pakistan. The size of each blue circle represents the relative number of TNE institution in that particular city. So one of the limitation is that we still lag such TNE based higher education based institutions in Pakistan. That will be shared later on as well. TNE fosters leadership and skill set and how it plays a crucial role in particularly developing the leadership skill set in our students. The curriculum often includes courses in strategy, communication, ethics, along with the technical, the basically the need of an era-based topics, which includes artificial intelligence, data analytics, product design. So, but by the collaborating with other students and collaborating of collection of all these skill set create create a leader in our students so that they can not only become a good a resource for any organization, but they also develop the skill set to start their own startup after graduating from TNEs. This is one of the very, you can say that one of the very major difference between the Pakistani chartered universities and TNE based graduates, that not only develop their perspective to work in a global market, but also to work collaborated with the peers as well. TNE prepares graduates for global roles, as well as we've discussed, that they can work abroad, they can relocate themselves. The graduates can work on the freelancing task as well, and they can get an opportunity to recruited by the major, very famous organization as well. So what we at Beacon House International College is doing, we are actively engaged in scaling TNE tech programs to meet the growing demand for tech professionals here in Pakistan. We have seen significant growth in enrollment and the diversity of discipline offered. We have started with the BSc Computer Science from University of London. Then we bring BSc Software Engineering from Liverpool John Moores University undergraduate degree program, and now we are working on to bring the master degree program from very renowned UK universities. We have seen significant growth in development of students. Our collaboration with international external degree providers, including University of London and Liverpool John Moores, Pearson and NC UK, and the partnership to develop an industry leaders, which would be an pivotal enriching our programs and ensuring they are globally relevant and locally impactful as well. Like I said, that growth demand for tech professionals is addressing the increased need for skilled technology. We are working on notable increase in student enrollment, their diverse experience, and emphasizing a wide range of technological fields to prepare students for various industry needs, not only locally but globally. That's the beauty of TNE particularly. Focused on equipping students with skills for ever-evolving technology sectors, partnering with global providers to enhance educational quality and relevance, partnership with industry leaders, leveraging industry connections to ensure programs and impactful and aligned with current trends. Along with that, our CEO, Mr. Nasser Kusuri, has initiated a program known as AppCat. The task of that particular department is to develop the other soft skills. We have big core program as well to develop soft skills, including research, including communication, including business communication, how to deal with the clients, and how to get projects, how to bid. That are the basically the skill set to develop in our future tech leaders. After that, scaling of TNE, as long as is concerned at BIC, we involve expanding our course offering, as I have said, that we are bringing the master degree programs in computer science, particularly in AI and data science. We focus on aligning our program with industry demands, with international requirement, with the need of an era, and ensuring they are accessible to broader student of our demographic. Our aim is not only to provide technical education, but also to cultivate a holistic skill set that includes leadership, innovation, and a global mindset.
5 minutes left, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, let me share my impact of TNE on the local system. The impact of TNE program on local tech system is significant, as the graph, as this pie chart breaks down the contribution of TNE programs in various sectors within the local tech ecosystem. We have very good local organization as well, working with the international organization and partners. So we are working the impact of TNE. Our student work well after graduating and during the degree program from TNEs. The challenges include particularly that the curriculum has been updated, it's good, but the major limitation which we particularly face over here is the cost of TNE degree program. One of the things that as compared to our local chartered universities, due to which somehow we lag with the number of students as compared to Pakistani, our local universities. And to maximize the impact, we recommend incorporating global citizenship modules with the curriculum, facilitate industry mentorship and projects, which we are working on that at BIC. Potential areas for expansion and improvement include the project-based learning from industry and to include our student with future research opportunities. Summaries is that like critical role in developing tech leaders who are not only technically proficient but also globally aware and ethically grounded. At last, I would like to acknowledge my contributor towards this research, because we used to collect data nationwide from different major cities of Pakistan. Juhina Batul, she has dedicatedly effort to collect data from the Faisalabad city. Usman Rashidi, he's from Danning Law School, Karachi. His invaluable perspective and contribution to our research has basically helped us a lot. Mohammad Nabil Safdar, he's from TMUC, Pakistan. His expertise in educational strategies and his role in enhancing the content of this presentation as well. And lastly, we have Mr. Shani Ali. He's from Ivy Roots. He has contributed strategic input, which greatly enriched our analysis and conclusions. And thank you all for your attention. I'm now open to any question. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And just under time too. So that's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Yeah, very interesting presentation. Let's open it to the floor in case we have any questions, comments, reflections from colleagues. Please
Sure.
just either raise your hand or pose a question in the chat. Oh, we have, this looks like a this is from Sajid. What is the most important policy priority Pakistan should adopt to increase the impact of TNE in Pakistan? Questions in the chat if you need to have another look at it.
Let me close my presentation and then I can access that.
Wonderful. And then after that, we have another hand up. So,
yeah, sure.
So essentially, what's the most important policy priority to increase the impact of TNE in Pakistan? And after that, we'll come to Mahin Zara.
Yeah, currently, as a Pakistan, the Higher Education Commission, who is basically governing all the universities and the chartered, I think so that the major policy is to the more integration, the more acceptance of TNE-based degree programs, and as long as policy is concerned, so the acceptance and basically you can say that how the TNE graduates will get an admission for their further education in Pakistani chartered universities, and how this how as an HEC, Higher Education Commission, like help our students to become more engageful in our local ecosystem. I think so that particularly helped our TNE graduates in the longer run.
Oh, okay, thank you. Mahin Zara, I think I see your hand up. If you would like to turn your mic on and ask a question, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. This is Hola. I'm using Mahin's.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
How are you, Christopher?
I'm good, thank you.
So this is a question for Fawad, because the topic is employability. Is there any data that you've collected or any report that is linking TNE graduates and employability in Pakistan as a landscape?
Yeah. We have collected the data from Karachi, as I've shared that we have included TMUC, we have included Danning Law School, we have included Ivy. These are all the top TNEs in Pakistan. So we collected data from different TNEs, particularly in their CS and software, particularly their technical CS degree programs students, and along with the data from our industry major, including NetSol, Xaver, and all these major software houses.
The second part
I will definitely share that with you.
Yeah, and just the second part was, if you could quickly run through us, what was the impact? Did you see high employability rates in TNE students?
Okay, currently, what as long as I've compiled all the data, so that shows that particularly the TNE graduates during their degree program got an opportunity to earn and to connect with the organization, not only for within the local ecosystem, but working as a freelancer. Like for an example, we have a student at BIC who is in like fourth semester, like in the middle of his degree program, and he has started earning. And it's Rafi Shahood, and you can we can have a very, he is working very good with the organizations, particularly on the AI based projects. So what I have more than 15 years of experience teaching in local chartered universities and more than 4 years of experience in TNEs. What I have seen that as long as employability is concerned, the major difference is the curriculum, because the chartered university curriculum is not so much updated as compared to the TNEs. So that enriches our student prospect to get more, like you can say that interaction, and to get more chance to get employable with respect to charter. Yes, definitely. Yes, they got a more opportunity.
I think there's one final comment which was in the chat, which is from Yanis. He's asking, he says, very informative presentation. He's asking that last May, the British Council made some comments regarding the QA, quality assurance and TNE policy guidelines of TNE provision in Pakistan. Are there any actions by the Higher Education Commission, the HEC of Pakistan, to address these issues?
Yeah, as long as my knowledge is concerned, that still HEC is not so much concerned about the implementation of policy towards the TNE, as long as my knowledge is concerned. As in head of for the computer science school nationwide. So as long as HEC has not directed anything to us as compared to any chartered university, because they used to give a policy to other universities, but we have not received such any guidelines from HEC. So that's the lagging part. That's the bad part.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for an excellent presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah, and some great questions from colleagues. So thank you very much.
Thank you all.
We may well obviously come back to further questions if we have time at the end. But thank you very much, Fawad. And maybe if we now turn to our next presenting team of Inga and Kola. Is one of you, I'm not sure which one of you will be, or maybe both of you are doing the presentations?
Christopher, we had a change of name, and I didn't involve. I did inform Dr. Vangelis, and
okay.
Yeah, so Maheen and me will be presenting. Dr. Inda has an audit that she had to receive, so I had to go.
Oh, okay. So is it still the same presentation, transformative practices and innovations and partnerships?
It's the same presentation.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, then the floor is yours. The same rules apply at the same time. Yes. Hopefully you have functionality to share your slides accordingly. Yes. Hopefully that should be. Well, Fawad did such a great job. We're still 2 minutes ahead of schedule, so we're cruising along at this point. There we go. Excellent. Yep, we can see them now. So yes, whenever you'd like to begin, floor's yours. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll just take a minute. Thank you. All right, my name is Khala Malik, and I have been looking after or been part of the TNE landscape from Pakistan for the past a decade or so, more than a decade actually, when TNE in Pakistan began. This presentation will obviously focus on transformative practices, innovations, and TNE partnerships. And we will be speaking about how TNE can benefit from generative AI. And we'll be talking about technology in general, and what enables global access and excellence in higher education and its impact. The scope of our presentation and paper would obviously focus on the use of technology and AI platforms and TNEs to enhance collaborative learning. Because we've seen various forms of transnational education evolving and developing over the years. Even during this platform opportunity, I learned about micro campuses with the presentation previously by our colleagues the first day of the symposium. So there is a lot happening in transnational education. UK models are changing. There's obviously a lot more to explore. I will talk about quality just a bit because there was a question in the previous during the previous presentation. I'd like to address that maybe probably later in the presentation. And the focus would be obviously on student learning outcomes and use of assessment to ensure quality. I have been a director of quality assurance at a leading TNE provision, so I understand the challenges that TNE providers have, and there are blind spots that regulatory bodies overlook. And linking on to the question that was asked, which is very, very genuine, and it's a concern that quality has to be obviously ensured by awarding. However, because of COVID and post-COVID, there is obviously a lot of support that is needed and required, which needs to be set in place before starting a TNE partnership. Our scope will obviously remain in understanding transnational education dynamics. I'll just give a brief overview. Transnational education is obviously the greener way of education now post-COVID. Seen going blended and online has helped us understand that this model has a lot of scope with respect to developing countries. Southeast Asia has always been a large receiver collaboration of TNE. Borderless education is what we call it. There are different models in transnational education. There is distance learning, there's supported learning, there's online learning, there's obviously micro campuses now coming up, international branch campus, and there's various different forms of transnational education partnership models, in validations, articulation agreements, there's franchise. So I'll give the example of University of London that I've worked with for about 12 years now with the teaching center. So there are about over 120 teaching centers all over. Now I'm speaking about all over the world for University of London, and now their model is also they were exploring newer models of offering TNE and a distance learning education. The one thing that I see happening, and what I'm going to speak about more, is transnational education, or borderless education, or whatever name we give it. It evolving how and using technology, and how if we link technology with transnational education and be more inclusive by using various digital platforms, how can that impact and benefit the way assessments and academics is delivered. I will be speaking about Pakistan as a case study as a success story, but more importantly, I will have my colleague, when she comes in, speak about how artificial intelligence can, if we explore this area further, which we will, how it can impact and how it can support transnational education. Currently, the challenges in TNE landscape and program delivery are obviously cultural diversity and the student support. So I've seen firsthand, as a provider of transnational education, is at the when we speak about the support system set in at one of our awarding body or partner institution, the kind of support that is required, the hand-holding, the critical friend that's required, and the kind of resources that are required at the end of the awarding body, and somehow lacks the understanding in the beginning, if they understand which country they're going into, what are the cultural issues, what are the what is the kind of student support that is required specifically? Because I know that having worked with Bangladesh, the kind of support that the students and the faculty required there for laws program is very different from the kind of support that students for laws program in Pakistan require, because there was a lot of collaborative work that we did with Pota World College India, for example, when we won the global institution grant, and we worked together with the students, so we could understand the challenges that were very similar but also very different with the kind of support that the student requires that are on transnational education programs. Student engagement. So when you are studying in an institution that is offering TNE, and your university that you're studying in is, let's say, example in the UK, the student engagement and their interaction or their connection with the UK provider is very limited. To the point where it's a digital platform, there's a graduation ceremony that you can attend. But I feel that now there can be a lot more, now that there's so much technology enhancement taking place. The provider institution, which is let's say a UK provider, I could take the example of University of Hertfordshire, for example, and if the business program has a digital platform that they're using, now could have a lot more student engagement, can be increased with having a lot more that my colleague will speak about, using various different tools. Now, obviously, there will be cost involved in this, but I feel that if we link TNE to more digital platforms, it will actually help. I'm sorry, there is. Okay. Then obviously there should be a lot more collaboration, communication. Again, we are only speaking about students, but also Fawad is a colleague. He's worked in one of the TNE providers in Pakistan. I worked with colleagues in Malaysia, Help Academy, for example, India, Singapore, SIM Institute. So all these TNE providers that are working, they need staff and human resource, which is, we are all third space professionals. We need that kind of support that I feel is that needs the onboarding, the training, how UK framework works, what are the challenges of working with a UK provider and working in a TNE setup. So usually your human resource comes from local industry, and their understanding and knowledge, I think, is something that we could use digital platforms to ensure better onboarding for that. So not only students, but staff can also benefit from it. Assessment and evaluation. Now, I mean, this could be another topic altogether, how technology-enabled assessment solutions can help in this, because remember, when we set up frameworks for a supported distance learning program or for a distance learning program, assessment is very different every time there's a different kind of partnership. Usually assessment controls lie with the UK providers, but there are models in which we've seen, for example, the Pearson Higher Nationals. For University for the Creative Arts, we were a franchise model, and we were doing all the assessments majorly and presenting to the assessment boards. But I do feel that a lot more could have been done to support because at the other end, the module leaders and everyone else is already highly engaged in their own work. So there are teams that work with TNE partners, as specified. They're called collaborative arrangement teams. They're sometimes called the international office, sometimes called and the schools work with you. But there is a lot of hand-holding and a lot more onboarding that's required. That's where the blind spots for quality assurance also come in. So I do feel that this area, which me and Maheen have picked up, can explore using technology to fill in these gaps. And I think this is a very, very exciting age that we're in, and an exciting time that we're in. And we could look at this as an opportunity to grow in this area. All right. I am going to ask my colleague to speak now. Name's Maheen Zara Javed. She is She's done her degree in innovative learning technology. So she's explored this area, worked with me, and has done a wonderful job setting up the kind of work that we can explore into. So her research is majorly on AI, ed tech tools, and gamification and digital platforms being used for higher student engagement. But today, I've obviously scoped it for TNE and linking digital platforms, and how can transnational education providers and UK providers get the kind of enhancement through generative AI and AI in general. So I'm going to have her speak. I'm just going to use stop sharing for a minute, and then she will connect. I just want to my camera to go.
You have to go there.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. This is Mahin Zara Javed. So I will be speaking about the role of AI in basically transnational education. So when we talk about AI, we for some reason, we confined ourselves to only a specific tools which can be used for teaching and learning only. But we forget about the fact that AI has a very wider scope, and especially in a transnational education model, that the challenges are far more than a conventional brick and mortar classroom or educational model. So to overcome those challenges, we are in the era where it's very easy to for us to use these tools for our learning, for enhancement of learning of our students, and on a wider picture for collaboration and learning. So the first challenge, I have been working with TNEs for more than 5 years now, and I started off as a very basic support person, then moved towards the administrative side, management side, and I had also been in the classroom teaching the students. So I had the experience of dealing with the learners from the teaching perspective, as well as managing them or managing the records and data. So I think the first and foremost challenge in TNEs is because you have a very global and diverse audience. There are different people from different cultural country backgrounds, educational backgrounds. So the first problem is the credential check or the credential verification at the very initial stage. Doing that with the human resource only takes a lot more time, and the credibility is under question, as Hola has already said, that when TNEs, for TNEs, when where education providers are from local educational providers hire local resource. So a lot of times that resource doesn't know the dynamics of the different countries and their educational systems, and it takes quite a lot to train them and to make them understand the education requirements, the credentials. So if we integrate AI with blockchain for credential verifications, the process is much more smoother, much more faster and easier. Likewise, so there are, for collaboration in within the classroom, we had been using EdTech tools. There are multiple tools like Padlet, Nearpod, Peer Deck, so many tools which we're already using for the digital part of the classrooms. But I think that if we use AI tools, which are more like, for example, Verso Learning, is something that gives you a platform where student engagement does not only enhance, but they also look at the algorithms and the student data, so to understand and to make a very individualized learning plan for the learners, which definitely makes them feel more heard, more they feel like they are valued, and it's far more better for their engagement and for their learning as well.
5 minutes left,
one
please.
one major tool or one major thing that we forget about AI, because it really hurts me when I listen to a lot of talks, a lot of conversations, a lot of symposiums about AI, we only confine ourselves towards generative AI, chat GPT, and we only talk about, and we're still fighting for the same, and we're still in the same debate that, oh, is it going to benefit students? Or are they going to, copy paste? Are they actually going to learn? And we are not exploring the other tools which are there to help them to make the lives easier for the tutors and the learners as well. So predictive analytics is something that I think in transnational education, especially higher education, will help the institutes a lot, because that gives you a data where you can actually look at the student success rate, what went right, what went wrong. And for collaboration and partnerships, this is also helpful for the parent institutes. For example, the parent institute wants to know the nature of the business or the future of the business. So that is much more easier with the predictive analytics. It was, for example, if I give you an example where I verbally tell you that, in 5 years we'll see this, as compared to me giving you a data with the previous records, where you can see that, okay, the AI has predicted you looking at the data that is already there about the future of the business. It becomes much more easier. It becomes much more reliable for the parent institute as well, and for the partner institutes as well. And that also gives you, a very good individualized learning platform, or individualized learning plans for your learners as well. For transnational education, because we have diverse audience who are sitting in different cultures, there is cultural diversity. I had looked after Middle East and Southeast Asia in my TNE experience, and the one thing that I think lacks is that the students only get the qualification at the end of an international qualification at the end of their completion of their program, and they miss on that very big part where they can have that classroom environment, where they can have the classroom experience of studying in an international institute. So I think for that, immersive virtual classrooms using the AR, augmented reality, to give them virtual tours, and basically engaging them more with the, and giving them the actual international learning experience, helps them a lot. Likewise, for engagement and for learning, gamification is one of the best tools. Using simulations, gamifications can help students understand much more. HNDs majorly focus on, for example, skill-based learning. So for skill-based learning, I think it using the gamification as a tool, as an AI tool, any AI tool for gamification is much more better, and is much more productive as compared to the conventional sorts of or ways of learning. And the second part of our paper that we want to
the scope. 1 minute left, please.
Okay, so if you talk about the flexibility and responsive to learning needs, I think, as Fola has already mentioned, I've been the support person. The problem is that in transnational educations, because of the cultural diversity, because of the time zone differences, it's very, the turnaround time for the support is very longer as compared to the conventional education system. So at times your time zone is so different that the students feel that, okay, fine, it's been 12 hours, 13 hours, we're unheard, no response. So for that thing, Ellucian chatbot or any other AI chatbots, when you implement them, it is much more credible, it is much more reliable, and that gives them a very, very, uh, good experience, where they grow as an individual, and they have the better learning experience. And the cultural diversity again leads to the very basic challenge, which is the language barrier, which is a lot of times, if you are dealing with students from Middle East or Southeast Asia, the tutors at their end are probably doing the best job, because they are actually giving them all the examples, case studies, but all the essence is lost somewhere in between. the language barrier. So if AI can be incorporated for translations and for communication, it can be much more easier. So the last part was where I compared the existing models of TNE models with AI support. Obviously, in the existing models, we are using technology, we are using digital platforms, but again, we are relying on the human resource much more, and the turnaround time, so be it support, so be it assessments, it's much longer than the if we do it with the AI. So the best part is that time management and taking off some load from the tutors and giving them more time to come up with more inclusive classrooms is much more helpful for students and for the entire TNE environment, and it gives a very good learning experience to the learners as well. So that was all, and we are
great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Very detailed. Let's open it up to the floor then, see if there are any questions questions, comments, or reflections from colleagues. Do we have any? We have something in the chat. Is that a very interesting and knowledgeable? I don't know. Yeah, about live tutors. Okay, good. Yes, Fawad, please. You have a question. Go ahead. You have your hand up at least.
Hello, Maheen. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, Fawad. How are you?
I'm fine. I have a question. As you have discussed about the AI and the TNE, its impact on TNEs. I have a question because, like, for an example, we are currently locating in Pakistan. So a student can, like, it's like a knife to use positive or negative, as same like for the chat GPT. I agree that, and generative AI. But how we can make sure that students are using it for for the positively side, but not for the copy paste purpose. So how we can tackle that particularly?
Okay, so that's a very long debate. We can go into the detail, but the one thing that I would pick up here is being the tutors or being the facilitators. The tools that I have talked about are more towards the structure of the institute and curriculum side. And if we talk about the students using, for let's say, just take an example of generative AI, chat GPT. This is very easy to understand because ChatGPT, one thing that lacks in ChatGPT is the human voice. And I think we all are sensible enough to see that, with if it's entirely copy pasted, you can pick it up in a millisecond that this is generative AI. This is not a human speaking or writing this manuscript, right? So when if that's the case, it's very easy to, because being a teacher, I have picked it up so many times where the learners did not understand that, okay, fine, they just copy pasted the entire thing from AI. However, on the other side, the good use of ChatGPT is, yes, there's no harm if they're taking ideas, if they're taking, let's say a lot of information from ChatGPT. This basically curtails the time. They can, the thing that they would have spent like hours on researching on, they can have it in a few minutes, and then working on the research, bringing it down, and then coming up with their own answer. So that's how it can help them positively. But as long as negative use, we being the teachers can definitely identify that, and then it is also on the teacher, and it is also on the assessment that's created. The assessment should be designed in a way that the rubric should be designed in a way that it will be much more it should have much more personalized information rather than generic information. So then it becomes quite difficult for them to misuse it.
Great, thank you. Do we have any other questions from the floor? Certainly, this is a strong theme from our first two presentations, the role of or the connection between the digital and TNE, both in terms of, I mean, Fawad's presentation was talking a lot about, I mean, my understanding was that we might be thinking about badging, we might be thinking about micro-credentials, we might be thinking about digital platforms, and then here we've got this, how do we link it to more digital platforms? And of course, the question then becomes, how do we assure the quality? I mean, that's a question in everybody's classroom, right? This is where we are in this debate. So thank you. I mean, that's a wonderful presentation, and I think certainly building on the themes from earlier. If there are no further questions at this point, as again, we might be able to come back, then perhaps we can thank our two presenters and turn the floor over to Faith, if that's okay. Faith, you're all ready to go. You have the ability to upload, etc.
Yeah, it's just loading.
It's just loading, sure. Yep, I can see it now. Perfect.
Yep.
Yes.
All right,
yep.
Great.
Okay, wonderful. Then whenever you would like to begin, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So, yeah, my name is Faith Nightingale. I'm a lecturer in skills for science and engineering transnational education. And I'm also the Director of Education here at Queen Mary Engineering School in Xi'an, in China. And today I want to talk to you about the work I do regarding professional skills. This is what I teach to the students, and also what I'm currently working on for my doctorate degree. So today I'm going to share with you a little bit about the literature that's developed this course. I'm going to talk about the context of the study, followed by the pedagogy that I use in the classroom, what topics we cover in terms of skills and how those skills are developed. And I'm going to give some examples of the projects that I've conducted at QMES. So the learning objectives for today are to understand the value of integrating professional skills into the curriculum and to come away with an idea to use professional skills in the classroom. So first of all, to start off regarding literature within universities, the Global Competitiveness Report in 2020 has discussed the need for educators to ensure that our graduates leave with what are called job-ready skills. So things like creativity, innovation, technical and critical thinking. And these are really important for future job markets, but specifically because of what's happened during COVID-19 and the change in landscape, we need to be developing these these skills more than just our communication, teamwork skills and so on. And of course, graduate attributes is really highly focused on in universities these days. Most universities have a plan, and so graduate attributes are a hot topic that I've been talking about now. However, one of the major things that is missing is that skills development is really targeted mostly at postgraduate students. One of the reasons for this is because postgraduates tend to have a better idea of where they want to go in their career. So this has been more of the focus, which I believe is really not a good thing for undergraduates, because some people don't go on to study a postgraduate degree. So I believe it's unfair to leave this provision to only postgraduates. We really are missing an opportunity here to be inclusive. So it's really the university's responsibility to develop the skills that all students need, using innovative pedagogies and being inclusive. Now, the other part of literature I want to share with you is regarding engineering, because that is what, as you can see from my title, I teach science and engineering skills. So engineers are required to have a number of hard and soft skills to be considered competent, especially if they want to apply for things to become like a chartered engineer. And employers have reported that engineers lack soft skills. And you can see here from the data on the screen, it's reported that 57% of employees lack analytical skills, 41% problem solving, 51% time management and task prioritization, and 33% lack digital skills. Now, obviously, the disadvantage of this is it's going to cost businesses money, because then they have to spend time training their employees. So really, employers are looking to reduce their training costs by getting work-ready graduates. Now, the Royal Academy of Engineering also goes on to identify 6 skills that engineers need in this landscape. And I think these 6 skills are interesting because when people think skills, they talk about teamwork, they talk about communication skills, and these are the basic things that are required within any job. So it's really about developing higher level skills. So like they mention here, the systems thinking, the problem solving, visualization, improving creative problem solving and adapting. So when it comes to thinking about how to develop professional skills courses, it's really more about looking at what a particular area needs and being able to develop higher level skills. So I'm going to go on to talk about where I am now. I work for Queen Mary University Engineering School, as I said, in Xi'an in China. And this picture is actually the window behind me, but now it's dark, so you can't actually see that. The school was established from 2016, and I've been on the programme since it actually began teaching in 2017. We teach B-Eng Polymer, Material Science and Engineering, or a B-Eng in Material Science and Engineering. And we have around about 1,000 students in our school across 4 years. Now, I'm responsible for the professional skills for engineers modules that we run from years 1 to 3. I now teach year 1 and year 2, and my colleague Lee teaches year 3. So, first of all, to talk about the pedagogy that I use in the classroom when thinking about skills, it's really based on student-centered learning. Really important that we foster discussion in the classes, there are tasks, and there really is a chance to practice skills, because you can't develop skills just by listening and being lectured about them. So I really give the students an opportunity to practice and put their own thoughts across, because skills is a very personal thing as well. I also focus on project-based learning, and I'll talk about a few projects that I've done later on. And this is really to help build those intrapersonal skills, the emotional intelligence, and also lifelong learning. So I'm looking here to develop that ability to work with other people, which is what they need in the workplace, but also that lifelong learning, because as engineering is a very fast-paced and changing, evolving landscape, they have to be able to learn, essentially. And what is the most important thing in my course is this interdisciplinary approach. I rely heavily on my engineering colleagues, not being an engineer myself, because I really believe it is important to blend skills and engineering together. It's no point in just having the skills in a very generic way where students can't see the benefit and they can't see how they apply it to their degree, they can't see how to apply it to their job, and so on. So an interdisciplinary approach is very key, and you'll see that momentarily. And the courses are also tailored to the context of the student, thinking about the stage of the degree, and also the culture here, as we are in China and we teach all Chinese students. So let me briefly go over some of the topics. Really, the first, second and third year courses are all about developing. And whilst we focus on some skills, obviously developing repeatedly over the years, we do try to stretch students. So in year 1, it's really more about the academic and professional engineering skills. So being able to get them to be, good students as well. So thinking about time management, lecture comprehension. I teach them a lot about how to use technology that they're going to need, especially in this dual degree programme, where some of the teachers are often in the UK and we fly back and forth. And then we go into year 2, where it's all about developing their professional engineering skills. So really getting them to think innovatively and creatively, giving them projects that they're able to solve, including ideas like sustainability. They have to pitch ideas as part of their assessment, developing posters and so on. And third year goes into business and professional engineering skills. So trying to get students to really think about themselves in a job, their next step in their career, and just start to have an understanding of what is required of workplaces. And we cover things specifically with CPD, ethics, IP, law, quality management, all of these, project management that are required with engineers. Now, some of the recurring themes that I want to talk about today is an engineering logbook. And I'll talk about that in more detail shortly. We also talk about safety and risk assessment in each of the years, but again, we upskill. For example, we talk about basic lab safety, and then we'll upskill in terms of chemical safety, cost risk assessments, and so on. And employability is given all through the 3 years as well. Now, in terms of skills, I like to map my courses against AHEP, so the accreditation for higher education programs. There are 5 main areas, as you can see on the screen. Now, when you think skills, when you think personal development, they generally fit into engineering practice, and you can see that there are 8 areas within engineering practice, and you can see like quality management, teamwork, project management, all of those are interwoven into the topics that we discuss in professional engineering skills. However, it's not just about engineering practice. For example, we talk about sustainability, which is C7 in the Engineering Society, along with ethics. There's also design, which is C5. There's also problem analysis and technical literature, which is C2 and 4, which fit into engineering analysis. So it's not about focusing on one area of skills development, it's about implementing from different areas, which is key. So let me go on to talk about some of the projects that I do. The first one is an engineering logbook. So the whole idea of the engineering logbook is basically a record of the students' professional development as they go through university. It's there for them to record their achievements and their skills, and it's really there for them to remember what they've done through university. So when they go into applying for master's degrees, they know what they can add into their personal statement, but also in terms of jobs and CEng qualification, they need to have developed this record for themselves. It also helps protect their intellectual property. And like I mentioned, it is, again, tailored towards the UK spec for professional professional registration. And so this focus is mostly on Section D. There are 4 stages into creating a logbook. The first is to obviously create it, and I use an online platform because of thinking sustainably. They don't have a hard copy anymore. They then look for opportunities for professional development, as you can see on the screen, such as giving a presentation, lab experiments, and so on. They then write entries, with the key aspect here being on reflection. I want them to reflect on the skills they've developed and how they're developing as a person throughout university, and then obviously it's organised into different areas. Now, as I mentioned, this is in all 3 of the professional engineering skills modules. It takes place over the 3 years, so from semester 1, and then they submit it in year 3 as part of their summative assessment. Reminders are given to students to add entries at each semester or each opportunity, and I also get them to fill in an engineering logbook work record form at the end of each semester, so they can see what they have been doing. They've got an opportunity to add. I get them to map it to AHEP as well, so they can see how they're developing, and I ask them to put an example reflection so they can get feedback on that, so they can really track their progress as they go through. So obviously some feedback in 3 areas. Personal growth, students have said it's really useful and meaningful. They've gradually got used to implementing reflection and it's effective for them. In terms of growth and accomplishment, they're really surprised by how much they've actually achieved by the time they get to year 3. You can see here somebody wrote 67 logbook entries, and that's really helped them grow. And also in understanding the logbook, at the beginning, they think, oh, this is just a waste of time. There's no need for it. But really, as they grow and develop, they see by the end, they understand, and they can also see the connection between them as a student and as an engineer, as you can see in the 3rd part here, where it says it's a foundation for me to grow as an engineer and it will bring me better improvement. So an engineering logbook is a really useful tool for them to show their growth and also to be used continuously as they go into the workplace. The second thing I want to discuss is an escape room challenge that I do with my 1st year students. I think previously someone mentioned about gamification. Obviously here in China, they love to play games. The students are constantly playing games. So I wanted to really capture that to try and get their attention when talking about developing skills. So the whole idea of this was to develop teamwork, communication and problem solving skills. And this was developed during the COVID-19 pandemic. It is an online escape room that they go through, and this was to replace a face-to-face teamwork activity that we did have. They had 45 minutes to solve the puzzles and to escape. And the whole idea was they escaped from me in the classroom. And they had to go through the building and try to get out to a waiting helicopter. And if they got to the helicopter, it would take them to a night out in Xi'an. But if they couldn't get out, they had to stay and study with me all night. So it was trying to add that element of fun and get them engaged in the escape room as well.
5 minutes left.
So it's basically there to reenact, like I said, a real life activity students do, but I also added in clues that were to do with science and engineering. So for example, they had to create a small explosion in the lab. So you can see I've run this for the past 4 years, and you can see from the screen the skills that have been developed. And like I said, teamwork, problem solving, critical thinking, communication, those are the ones I really wanted them to develop. And you can see this is really successful in doing that. And actually in the module for feedback forms that we get at the end, it is their highlight of the semester. It's the activity they always comment on. And then finally, I just want to talk about how we've implemented a professional skills module with a technical engineering module with engineering design. We developed a joint assessment between these two modules, and one of the aims was to enhance the professional skills of the learners, to really show a prominence in a project that is a technical project. So yes, they're learning technical knowledge, but it's really about developing their skills, being able to manage the project and so on. So really setting a context for these students to use their professional skills in this project-based learning is key. So again, you can see some data from my research. They've developed a lot of skills, as you can see, the blue side being they felt they developed these a lot. So you can see that there are other skills like pitching skills that we really wanted to develop in terms of their presentation. You can also see project management and time management, which is a key skill. And actually this year, when we ran this project again, what we did was to ensure that we really focused on the skills in the marking criteria. So the actual content, because this is the first stage of their engineering project, it was a design idea. So we actually made the content part a smaller part, and then we focused really on the project management, engagement and language skills to really explain to the students that it's skills that we're interested in with an element of your technical knowledge. So you can see from the screen here again, high levels of skills they believe they developed a lot, and the top 3 show from professional skills and the bottom show from the engineering module that Lee runs as well. So you can see here, by really focusing on skills and developing them within a project-based environment, it was really beneficial to the students as well. So a few conclusions. The first is that integrating skills into the curriculum is essential. There's no way to get away from this anymore, but it's about continuously integrating. It's not just, oh, I did this once and then I've done my job. So it's obviously there to develop not only the goals of the university, but also the need of the employers. So by doing this, it's really bringing service to the students. And as I mentioned, interdisciplinary approach is key. It's got to be related to their main degree. So that means that you have to work with subject specialists. Myself, I've learned so much learning from the scientists and the engineers. And it's really about tailoring the curriculum to the needs of that particular set of students as well. And finally, I think culture is really important component as well when you're considering the skills to teach. There is information about Chinese employers as well, which I've discovered as part of my doctorate. So it's important to think about culture when considering your skills, designing the curriculum and the pedagogy. And some references for you, and I'm happy to take questions. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much. And yeah, we're well within time, so that's wonderful. Thank you. Okay, do we have any questions from colleagues, comments, again, reflections, as with the previous ones? I have a question, perhaps, if before colleagues. Oh no, somebody beat me to it. Wonderful. So we have a question in the chat. In modern educational environments, students have lots of opportunities to improve their soft skills. However, if I heard correctly, 57% of employers reported that students lack soft skills. The question is, will AI have more negative impact on the soft skills of students? And that question comes from Sajiwa in Sri Lanka.
I think that's an interesting question, and regarding AI, I've not done too much research on this, but one of the things that I did do in my class with my students is I did produce a piece of AI writing, and I asked them to read it. It was about a basic engineering topic, and I asked them to evaluate it for me, because I wanted to show them that the use of AI is fine for a basic understanding, but not for submitting as part of your degree. And actually, this was with my first year students, and it wasn't that far into the course. And I asked them, so what's your opinion? What do you think about this? And they said, oh yeah, like it's okay, but there's no evidence, like there's no data. They could pick out the key things that you need in a report. And I said to them, okay, so where do you think I got this from? And they didn't really know. And when I said, oh, have you heard about ChatGPT? And they were like shocked. I think shocked more that I actually used it as well, but then to give it to them and show them, look, I used AI. And then I said to them, well, yeah, so it's fine to use it, as been mentioned before, to get basic knowledge, but you have to have that critical ability, the human approach, to really be able to say, is this good enough or not? So I think it's all about teaching students how to use AI as well, and I think it possibly may or may not, like I said, I've not done too much research on this, impact the soft skills of students, because they need to be taught how to use it, like any piece of technology.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a reflection on the idea of the reflective logbook and seeing how that needs to be assessed and encourage participation. I can see how it needs to be assessed and encourage participation, but what assessment criteria are used for the logbook? We've also had another previous positive comment about that in terms of portfolio use in education training. So clearly this is a very big plus element of the process.
Yeah, definitely. And I actually wrote an article in the Institute of Materials, Minerals and Mining Materials World about the logbook and about how to use it in the class. Now, in terms of like assessment, as I said, they fill in the work record form as they go through semester by semester, and they essentially get a rubric feedback on how they've done, like, have they done all the tasks, should they do something extra, and then the new element of the reflection, just to give them a bit of a hint about how to do it. When it comes to the third year, the way we do again have a rubric criteria, and we do expect that they have got at least 10 entries per year. So part of the marking criteria is on their number of entries. Part of the marking criteria is on their reflection ability and how well they've reflected on themselves during the process, and some of it is also obviously on their language ability as well, and whether it's understandable. So yeah, they do that. It is worth a smaller part of their overall mark in year 3. I think it's around, well, actually I can't remember, so I'm not going to guess, but it's a smaller component part, because it's a personal thing, and I don't think that a large proportion of the marks should be assigned to that, because it is something personal. It's something they need for their CPD, their future appraisals and so on. So I'd rather them learn the skill and be able to do it and see the usefulness of it, which they do, rather than say to them, well, this is 50% of your
Sure.
grade, because that's just forcing them to do it without really seeing the benefit.
Are you advising students to use a specific model of reflection?
Yeah, so we do. I introduced two to them, but the one that I've been encouraging more with the first years this year is the the what, so what, now what approach, making it clear to them that really for them to be able to progress, they have to have an action plan, you know. And we've done a lot about thinking about, it's not just about negatives that you need to reflect on, it's about looking at the positives and how you're going to continue developing the positive skills.
Great, thank you. That question was, I think, from Konstantinos, and the previous one was from Debbie. I have well, it's not really a quick question, but I'm very curious about, and it actually, I think, harkens back to something Fawad was talking about as well, which is this issue about alignment with industry. So obviously, if you're talking about developmental skills, and you know, as you put in your presentation, there's clear evidence that employers are not, whatever word we want to use, happy, right, with some of the skills that are being or not being taught. What's the extent to which you engage with industry to better understand, not being dictated by, but better understand those sort of expectations, particularly obviously in your context, right?
Yeah. So the staff that we have are from a broad range of disciplines and experience. So like I said, I do talk to them a lot. You know, we have engineers here who have worked in industry, so I do ask them what are their opinions and so on. We also do give guest lectures to the students, so we try to get people who are in industry or who are in like research, because some of them are interested in that as well, to come and talk. So it's about using the resources that you have around you as well. In the context of here, it is difficult to get information from industry, mostly because of a language barrier. So it really is about using who you have around you and how you can get that. And also about reading reports. I think that's the key, is the industry reports come out, reading those to see what is necessary, and also reading job descriptions as well that come out, because I think that's important. And that's something I say, you know, to students, whether it's a job description or a master's program, it's going to detail the skills that you need. So it's important to read those as well, so you can see. And reading more up-to-date magazines or articles like the Materials World in IOM3, that talks about what's current and trending in the area of materials science. So I really encourage them to read that so they can see how the landscape is developing and changing.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much. I don't think there are any further questions in the chat. I think we've had wonderful questions for each of our three presentations. So I think perhaps Vangelis, I can possibly hand it back to you just to close it off. Obviously, my thanks to all presenters, but to hand it back to Vangelis for the formal, I guess, thanks and closing. So thank you very much.
No, thanks a lot for the very interesting presentations. I think it was quite a lot of useful material there. Very insightful and really great stuff, Faith. I think that has a lot of potential to be applied in other disciplines within TNE. So I think really some amazing stuff there. All right, so thanks a lot. I will be in touch with everyone with the next steps when it comes to publication. So we are looking to, normally outside of the symposium, we get an edited book, but this time around we are looking to go with a special issue of an academic journal. So this takes obviously a bit more time. So we are hoping to contact everyone who is presenting, but also the broader community in the first 2-3 months in 2024 about this. So once again, thanks a lot, and thanks Chris for the great facilitation right on time. And there's another session later on this afternoon at 2 o'clock with equally great presenters and exciting stuff. So we're looking forward to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.